Brother, there's a truth that most men only realize after they've been hurt, betrayed, or left questioning how a woman they trusted could change so quickly. And the truth is this: women live in a world that doesn't actually exist. It's not because they're evil or foolish, but because their perception of reality is shaped less by logic and more by emotions, less by truth and more by imagination. They don't see the world as it is, they see it as they feel it should be. And that emotional filter distorts everything. It bends reality. If you don't understand this, you'll spend your life confused, drained, and manipulated by women without even realizing it. When a woman says, "I love you," in that moment, she means it. But if her feelings change a few days later, she can leave you without hesitation. Because in her world, the truth has changed. In her realm, reality is fluid, flexible, reshaped by her emotions. And when you ask, "But what about what you said?" she'll look at you as if you're insane. Because she doesn't live in your world of logic and loyalty, she lives in a world ruled by feelings. And in that world, Tuesday's truth can be Thursday's betrayal. She never takes responsibility for it, because in her mind, she never lied. She simply feels differently now. This is why men are shocked when a woman suddenly leaves, cheats, or ends a seemingly stable relationship overnight. From her perspective, everything makes sense. Her actions are justified by her emotions. If she feels neglected, you being busy with work can feel like betrayal. If she feels worthless, your compliments from yesterday no longer matter. You can bring evidence, explain reality, remind her of facts, but it doesn't matter. Because in her world, feelings replace truth. And trying to counter emotions with logic is like shouting mathematics at a storm. You can see this in how women fall in love fast, intense, fiery. Before she even knows your last name, she's built castles in her head. And you believe it's real. You think she's entirely devoted to you. But what you're seeing isn't love. It's projection. She's not in love with you, she's in love with the story she's written in her mind, the fantasy, the possibility. And when reality shows up, when she realizes you're a flawed human being, disappointment sets in. That's when she withdraws, and you're left wondering where the loving, passionate woman disappeared to. The truth is, she was never real. She was only a product of her imagination. That's why women often say things that contradict themselves. I want a man who's strong but also sensitive. I want a man who provides financially but doesn't care about money. I want a man who leads but also lets me lead. These are contradictions, but emotionally, they make sense. Because women aren't searching for logical consistency. They're chasing a feeling, an energy, an emotional high. And once that high fades, her story changes. Her needs shift. Her expectations transform. Not because she planned it, but because her reality is always built on shifting ground. If you don't see this, you'll waste your life trying to make sense out of nonsense. And social media has made this dream world even more dangerous, because now women are constantly bombarded with images of perfect lives, flawless couples, and ideal men. Instead of appreciating the real man in front of them, they compare him to fantasies, filters, short clips, and fabricated stories. And in the end, they start to believe that anything less than perfection is failure. If you're not texting like a poet, acting like a billionaire, loving like a movie hero, you're not enough. She measures your reality against someone else's highlight reel, and you can never win that battle. The scariest part is, she doesn't even know she's doing this. Because in her world, it feels real. It feels true. And modern culture constantly reinforces this, telling her she's always right, that her feelings matter above all, that what she feels must be the truth. So she stops questioning her instincts. She stops searching for truth. She lives in her emotional echo chamber. And the moment a man challenges this view, he's labeled controlling, toxic, or insecure. When in reality, he's the only one standing on solid ground. That's why you see women moving from relationship to relationship without ever stopping to reflect. Because in her world, she's never wrong. It's the men. It's the circumstances. The ex didn't make her feel safe. The new guy gets her. But soon the cycle repeats. Because the problem isn't the man, it's the world inside her head. A world that believes love should be effortless, that feelings should never fade, that discomfort is danger. And when reality shows up, she runs. Because her fantasy can't carry the weight of the real world. You can't fix this. You can't save her. You can't pull her out of a world she doesn't even realize she lives in. But what you can do is protect yourself. Stop buying into her fantasy. Stop letting her words matter more than her actions. Stop trying to prove yourself to someone who keeps changing the rules. Instead, stand firm in reality. Keep your feet on solid ground. Lead with consistency. If she follows, fine. If not, you don't chase. Because a man rooted in reality never begs to be part of a dream. Here's the truth: the stronger you stand, the more she'll test you. Because in her world, strength is attractive but also threatening. She'll push you, provoke you, stir chaos just to see if you'll break. If you do, she loses respect. If you don't, she either rises to meet you or leaves. Either way, you win. Because the rare, worthy woman eventually realizes that her fantasies can't give her what she truly needs: stability, leadership, truth. And when that day comes, she looks to the man who never wavered. The deeper truth is this: you can't navigate a woman's emotional world with logic. There are no rules. It's built on feelings, impulses, and intuition. That's why she can say contradictory things and not even notice. That's why she can cry over illusions she created, blame you for storms she imagined. And if you don't hold your frame, you'll get swept into it. You'll start doubting yourself. You'll lose trust in your own judgment. And that's when you lose yourself. Not because she's evil, but because you abandoned your roots and got caught up in her dream. This is why so many men today feel drained, confused, defeated. Because they're trying to love women not as they are, but as they could be. They hold on to the feelings from the beginning, ignoring the truth of the present. They get addicted to the highs, afraid to face the lows. But the truth is, if a woman lives in a world where feelings override commitment, fantasy overrides effort, and her desires replace reality, then that's not a relationship. That's a dream that turns into a nightmare the moment you stop performing. So here's what you must understand: her world is not your responsibility. Her emotional swings are not your job. Her confusion, her impulsiveness, her fairy tale expectations, none of these are yours to fix. Your duty is to stay grounded. To move with clarity. To lead with vision. And if she meets you on that ground, good. If not, let her keep living in her dream. Because you didn't fight your way here, you didn't build yourself up, just to become a background character in someone else's fantasy. You are reality. She either joins you, or she leaves. That's why a man must build his world before letting a woman into it. A world built on truth, on standards, on values. A foundation that doesn't shift with someone else's mood. And when she steps into it, you don't listen to her words, you watch her patterns. You don't only observe her when she's happy, but when she's tested. Does she bring you peace, or chaos? Growth, or distraction? Reality, or fantasy? Because you can't hand her the keys and let her rearrange your mind. The irony is this: even though women live in fantasy, they still want you to be real. When she's the wave, she wants you to be the anchor. When she's unpredictable, she wants you to be consistent. That's your power, but also your burden. Because if you don't know who you are, her presence alone can throw you off balance. That's why so many relationships today are reversed: men reacting, women leading emotionally. But the rare, lasting relationships are built by men who let women be emotional, but never hand over the truth to their chaos. Here's the reality, brother: most women don't actually want to live in fantasy, but they don't know how to leave. They've been lied to since birth. Told that every feeling must be celebrated, that love should be effortless, that discomfort is oppression. That's why they're always chasing the spark, the sign, the butterflies. But no one ever taught them that love is work, that stability is strength, that a steady man is worth more than 1,000 charming manipulators. And until they learn that, they'll keep chasing shadows, leaving real men behind. The irony is this: when she finally gets tired of her fantasy and wakes up, she'll come looking for you. Not because she suddenly sees your value, but because reality finally forced her to. But by then, you'll be gone. You'll have left the games behind, built a life on truth. And her loss won't really be you, it will be the life she could have had but wasn't ready for. Strong men don't yell. They don't chase. They don't hold grudges. They simply move on. They stop playing therapist. They stop trying to reason with chaos. They stop trying to be everything to a woman who doesn't know what she wants. They accept the truth: you cannot build with someone who lives in fantasy and calls it love. So now, men either stand alone or build with the rare women who've outgrown the dream, who've humbled themselves. But either way, they no longer lose sleep over being misunderstood. Because they chose peace over potential. So brother, if you've ever felt insane trying to make sense of a woman who changes every day, know this: you weren't crazy. You were grounded in reality, while she was lost in fantasy. If you gave everything to prove yourself only to be discarded, understand this: you were never in her real world. You were just a character in her emotional movie, and she rewrote the script. But now, you see it. You know better. You won't audition for a role you never asked for. You won't be her temporary savior. You've reclaimed your clarity. Hold on to it. Women live in a world that doesn't exist. Let them. But you, as a man, must live in reality. Move with truth. Build with truth. Because this world doesn't reward fantasy, it rewards discipline, vision, and clarity. And when you root yourself in those, when you stop trying to convince women, you'll find peace. You'll find strength. And maybe, just maybe, a woman will come along, tired of illusions, finally ready to live in your world. A world where love is real, loyalty is proven, and truth is not just spoken, but lived.